Okay, hello everyone. We are Estimote, and we have a pleasure to be here tonight to talk a bit about culture and building teams. So basically cool stuff, and we have only 20 minutes, so it will be really short. What we'll actually cover tonight is we will introduce Estimote in a really short way, just to give you some kind of a context. We'll also talk about our team, so exactly like the things that we're doing on daily basis. And we'll talk a bit about our work, so the pleasure part, we will talk about some kind of experiments that we're doing. And of course, there's like one key thing that we would like to really emphasize tonight, and that thing is the impact of a culture, a defined culture, and having a culture team on building a great company. So, let's start with Estimote. We are a company that is on the market for over 3 years, and we're a full stack company. We are backed by Y Combinator, which is like one of the most successful startup incubators in the States. We're really into Internet of Things. So that means that our main vision is to build a world of connected things and connected people, and we're building small devices called beacons and video beacons to make that happen. Also, we are hiring 65 people to make that happen, and we are having 2 beautiful offices in Krakow and in States. So you've probably already noticed that we are a startup, and that's a pretty much a serious thing, because that comes with big ambitions. And also that means that we're experimenting a lot, and that we innovate on daily basis, and that sometimes we are failing. But that's like another story. So the culture team, it's us. So it's John and Anna. John is a former engineer. He's also agile coach, and he has 20 plus years of experience. Yeah. Gained in London, in Stockholm, and Krakow, of course. And it's me, Anna, and as Chris said, I have a background in recruitment and employer branding, and I'm also a certified Scrum Master. And we've been working together for almost a year, so we're having a small anniversary very soon, hopefully. And we have the coolest job, but it's really hard to explain to people sometimes. So they ask, what do you do as a culture team? Because that's really weird thing. And the answer is, we are like servant leaders. It's not easy to explain as well. To make it short, we are there at Estimote for people. So we are making sure that our team members, they're having the important tools, important trainings, and that they're having support, and that they can be actually successful. It also means that we are just listening to them, and we are basically making sure that their voice is being heard, which is the coolest job ever. And the cool part also is that we can experiment. It's the cool part because we are changing things, and sometimes, as I said, we're having small failures, but we would like to present the report of something that was very successful, and it was defining the Estimote culture. So if there's the one key message for you today, is that culture is way, way too important to leave to chance. So we are like consciously working on it, on defining it. And of course, every single company has its own culture, company culture. But for us, it was really important to have some kind of initiatives to define it. And if you would like to have a similar experiment, similar experience, I would say that the most important thing is involvement of whole team. So there are some photos from actual workshops last year. You can see our team members working on defining what Estimote is and what we would like to become in the future. It was pretty much surprising and very inspirational for us, for the people involved in this process, because we found out that we share the same vision and the same values, no matter if we are from Krakow or New York. And I have to be really honest that it was a very time-consuming process. So we've also decided to have like external consultants just to avoid this kind of a bias that you have when you're from the company and you're trying to define something that's already in. So our external consultants helped us defining the culture, and it started in September last year. It started with digital harvesting, so we asked all the people at Estimote some basic questions about who we are. And then we followed up. There were like 2 workshops in Krakow. All of the people from Estimote were invited. So people from New York, people from Krakow, we worked together, as you saw on the pictures. And also we were working with founders in separate groups. At the end of October, we had a small break. So the consultants had actually opportunity to analyze the data and to cluster the data so we can like move forward with the process. That was a base for founders interviews and for like a mini workshops with founders, because we always wanted to make sure that we're on the same page. The last part was like a digital harvesting, online feedback gathering. So all of the employees were asked, is this Estimote? Do you agree with some statements? And once we gathered this information, we did the alpha test. So like, this is the iteration of the culture code. This is Estimote. Do you agree that this is it? The result was pretty much positive. So we signed off, and it was like 2 months of production. We wanted to make it somehow special. It's not just having the culture code and defining it, it's also about announcing it in a really nice way. So now we have the pleasure to present Estimote culture book, also known as We Are Estimote.
I think it's very tempting as leaders and managers or founders to just define the culture ourselves. It's at the end of the day, it's the company that we've been here forever and had this vision. So who knows better the culture than we? But from the other hand, the culture is actually something you cannot define because it's the people who create it. And what I enjoy the most is the fact that a lot of engineers and designers and operations people, they took an active part and they contributed to the culture to an extent where their words are printed in the book these days.
We all create magical experiences. We push ourselves to think big, together. We have a can-do and an everything is possible mindset. We like to change the perception of what's possible. All of us should strive to see the big picture. We are passionate about creating something new. We are obsessed about details. We will succeed by experimenting. We try deeply to understand why, but we don't know everything. So we innovate by experimenting. We are transparent, inside and out, even if we fail sometimes. It's okay to fail. Learn from it. Try again. We execute. We do not wait to be told what to do. We try to be data-driven. We need feedback to grow. We help each other and learn through constructive feedback. We are open for discussion and to rethink best practices. There are no barriers to question anyone, even the founders. We learn and share our experiences. We are always honest and respectful. We provide feedback and express appreciation. The physical world is diverse, so are we. We are international. Together we can do something no one has done before. Everyone is unique and we are one team. We are good to each other and follow our code of conduct. We believe in collaboration. We challenge behaviour that we do not like to see. We trust each other, and together we can feel safe. We do things instead of just talking. Execute. Build, ship, close. Nothing should stop us.
That's the section of the video introducing the Estimote culture book. And let me give you some observations on the process. The first observation is that with culture, we're not saying that there's a silver bullet. We're not saying that there's a magic recipe for building an amazing culture. We don't think we found that. But the work we did on the Estimote culture book is a tool.
A tool like any other tool that can be used appropriately. And the great thing about the tool for me is when I see the tool helping us have conflicts that matter. I love to see people arguing about the meaning of the Estimote culture book. I love to see people debating what it means to be an Estimoter. Because one of the hallmarks of great teams is actually conflict and that ability to argue about the things that matter and get to a point where we work things out together. So that's the first observation, no silver bullet. The other interesting observation from building the Estimote culture book was there was suspicion and even cynicism at the start of the process. We heard, we don't really need this. We know what the Estimote culture is. We are the Estimote culture, after all. Culture is the people. And actually, when we kicked the process off, Anya and I were having to do a lot of pushing of people to contribute to the digital surveys, to come to the workshops. And over time, as people saw more and more of the output, and we shared more and more of what we were doing with the team, by the end of the process, there was like 95% engagement in the digital harvesting. People really started to say, one, this is us, and two, this is a tool that helps us shape the behaviors we want to see. The other really important thing about investigating the Estimote culture was investigating the culture helped us fix bugs in the culture. Like anywhere, we're not perfect. We discovered bugs in the Estimote culture that we needed to fix. And we mentioned it in the short film there. The code of conduct that we developed, partly as a consequence of exploring the culture, was a response to bugs in the culture. That it helped us identify that there's certain behaviors we won't tolerate. And we've set these out as well. And we think that now we've fixed these bugs. So the impact of a defined culture on Estimote. We want to live the culture. It's there to help us with our hiring process, with our onboarding, with the evaluations we do as a company, with the training, with the health checks we do for teams, and the way we treat each other day to day, some of the bugs we talked about, the code of conduct stuff. So these are the ways we want to live this culture. It's particularly interesting for us that we want to, in hiring, really, really use what we've talked about with Estimote culture. And in fact, it might sound a bit brutal, but we actually sometimes want to exclude people who the Estimote environment is not right for. So it's kind of attract and repel. So, I mean, we've heard anecdotally, we've heard that people have been put off for applying to Estimote. We've heard you've got this code of conduct. We don't really like the sound of that. And to us, that's great. Brilliant. If you don't like the idea of some basic standards of behavior, some basic sort of being decent human beings in the workplace, fantastic. Don't apply, please. So the other question that we were asked to talk about this evening was, how do we make people want to work for us? And for Estimote is on this insane mission. Estimote is trying to build something that nobody's ever built before. We're trying to build an operating system for the physical world. That's incredibly difficult. We talk about this trip to the moon. 65 people in New York and Krakow trying to do something impossible. This is not for everyone. Not everyone is suitable to be an Estimote astronaut. There's a kind of slight craziness you need to join a mission like this. The attractor for us in hiring people is we're big believers in intrinsic motivation beating extrinsic factors. The things that should attract you to Estimote are purpose, meaning, pride, mastery, this crazy mission to do something that nobody has ever done before. I mean, we take care of the extrinsic motivators as well. We look after our team. We have lunches, we have breakfasts, we have healthcare, we have yoga sessions, we have relaxation training, we have all these sort of things. But these are not the motivators to work for us. These are the extrinsic factors, which are nice to have, and we think of them as hygiene factors. Get them right, but they're not basically going to motivate people to join you. And the final question for us was, how do we keep people? And there was an interesting interview with Laszlo Bock from Google. He was interviewed by Bloomberg a week or so ago. And we're very much in tune with his thinking. That to keep people at Estimote, there's two key factors for us. That is, it goes back to the intrinsic motivation I talked about a moment ago. Meaning in our work. That if you believe in the purpose of this slightly insane trip to Mars that we're on, that attracts you to stay at Estimote, and growth. And that if Estimote is a place that you're growing, you're much more likely to stay there. So a meaningful mission, point number one, that your work at Estimote should have meaning and purpose. And the benchmark question that we as a team are always asking whenever we talk to individuals or teams is Estimote a place you can grow? And if the answer is yes, there's a high probability that you will stay with us. And if the answer is no, then we need to fix that. But these are the two key factors for us in retaining people at this wonderful world, the wonderful, crazy world of Estimote. So yeah, that in summary is our role. We, the culture team, we look after the team at Estimote. We care about people. And our job is to help build this environment where people can grow, Estimote can grow, and it's a virtuous circle at that point. So that's a little bit about the work of the culture team at Estimote, and we would welcome any questions.